Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. And this is, well, my rant on this, the Royal Rumble. Um, I wanted to just come on last night and just totally shit on this, like the decisions here. And I still do, but I'm going to be a little more, um, reasonable about this because I was living last night with this. And look, there's a lot of issues I have with last night's Rumble, and it doesn't even just go upon the men's because that was what my video would have been last night. I would have been just talking about the Rumble itself, the men's Rumble, but really gathering everything. I'm mad at the Rumble itself, the whole night, really. Um, because first and foremost, the women's Royal Rumble was a train wreck. Um, so the women's Royal Rumble had Charlotte Flair return and win. Now she's been out for a year with a torn ACL. Okay, which terrible injury, and I'm glad she's back. But I don't think she deserves to main event WrestleMania. She has not been here for a year. You have so many talented women wrestlers on the roster right now that could go for that title. And yet, once again, we have to go back to Charlotte Flair. Now, Charlotte Flair is a good wrestler. I'm not saying that she isn't. But if it wasn't for her name, there's no way she'd be getting the push that she's getting. She is over pushed. Like, she is over pushed. You know, she fucked up Becky Lynch's one-on-one main event match with Ronda Rousey, which she should have had that main event herself, not Charlotte Flair being inserted into the match. Charlotte Flair has gotten everything for to her, more than anyone else on that roster that has gotten there. And now they're making her, oh, she's the greatest woman of all time when she's factually not. There's been multiple women that have done better than her, and Becky Lynch is a better star than her. And she was pissed about that, and that's why she got to be in that spot at WrestleMania with Becky Lynch, which is bullshit in itself. I'm still pissed off about that. But, you know, this whole thing, which I'm going to tell you right now, Charlotte's going to get booed, like, in the lead up to WrestleMania. She's going to get booed. I mean, apparently the social media dislikes are already on her. I mean, they're going to totally turn against her because, again, people are sick and tired of her always getting everything. And that's what she gets. Okay? Name me one person that was in that Royal Rumble that was not worthy of winning that Royal Rumble over Charlotte Flair, who have pretty much all of them have been actively working on the roster. Okay, I mean, you know, Nikki Bella returned. Obviously, I know a lot of people thought it was going to be AJ Lee, but Nikki Bella returned. I guess you could say that. Trish returned. I mean, hell, I would have rather seen Trish Stratus win the Royal Rumble. I mean, fuck. I know she's supposed to be retired, but I mean, let her get one more run. If you're gonna just go back to Charlotte Flair, I mean, fuck. Let Trish Stratus. I was actually hoping Trish was gonna win, but no. I mean, this is ridiculous. She's over pushed. You know, so many of these women on the roster. I mean, and like Becky Lynch didn't come back either. I mean, you could have brought Becky back. You know, Becky would have made an interesting storyline with Tiffany Stratton, or even running it back with Rhea Ripley. I mean, frig, I would have rather them see go back with Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss hasn't been champion in years. you know. And it's crazy to think about that because Alexa Bliss is very talented, you know. Oh, and Dave Meltzer, L to you, by the way, who proclaimed in his stupid con man Wrestling Observer, freaking claimed that Alexa Bliss wasn't coming back or whatever. Yeah, fuck you, Dave Meltzer, freaking con man. I'm so sick of once again, you know, L for Dave Meltzer. 50 years he's been conning everybody, and now people know the truth that he doesn't know shit about anything. And once again, one source at a time. I've made a video shitting on Dave Meltzer for a long time, and you know, I don't care. He sucks. He's not a good freaking journalist. He's a terrible journalist. He's overrated. He's a freaking con man that freaking was able to fool you all for 50 years because no journalist fact-checked Dave Meltzer's quote-unquote sources because nobody cared about wrestling. Like, real journalists weren't, like, back-checking professional wrestling. So they just blindly went by Meltzer. But now people on social media know that Dave Meltzer is a fraud and, you know, he doesn't know anything about what he's talking about and he makes shit up. And I'm so glad that people are starting to realize it. Before you say that that it could have been someone else, no, it was in his Observer. So it's his Observer that published that bullshit about Alexa Bliss. So he is responsible for it. And what else? What else? I loved when Wade Barrett shitted on Meltzer. Like, oh, you gotta follow the dirt sheets. I love that. That was beautiful. That was a direct shot to Dave Meltzer, by the way. They didn't say his name, but you know that was exactly what they were. You know exactly that was who they were shitting on with that. But anyways, moving on. Men's Royal Rumble. Okay. CM Punk didn't win. Biggest bullshit I've ever seen, especially with all the hype that they went into that. And they gave it to Jey Uso. And I know the idea of having a new person win the Rumble to kind of establish them. But if you're going to do that, why didn't you do it with LA Knight? I don't care. Like, LA Knight has been on a ride longer than Jey Uso does with his over his yeet. Okay? As a matter of fact, Jey Uso essentially copied what LA Knight was doing. Okay? LA Knight was doing this whole one-word thing and getting the people over well before Jey Uso did it. Okay? And, again, not into the higher extent of what Charlotte Flair is, of someone being overpushed, but Jey Uso has really been someone that has been force-fed for a while on a much lighter scale. Yes, he hasn't been obsessively pushed like Roman Reigns was, but if you've actually followed the Bloodline storyline, then you actually would have already known this, that he has been force-fed onto people, but not the way of Roman Reigns. They did it naturally, so they did it a little better than what you would have thought. But they still were doing it, and then it wasn't until they saw what LA Knight was doing where they copied what LA Knight was doing, and they used that with his own thing to get people interested. And this is where I'm pissed off, because if you're not going to give it to a veteran like CM Punk, the Rumble to CM Punk, and you're going to give it to Jey Uso, I would have rather them give it to LA Knight, because LA Knight deserves it. The dude is like in his early 40s, finally getting the recognition he deserves. And instead, you're going to go with Jey Uso instead, and he's going after Gunther. He's not even going after Cody. He's going after Gunther, who he just lost to at Saturday Night's Main Event. Okay? He just lost to this dude in Saturday Night's main event. If you're going to go with Jey Uso, it should have been at the Chamber. It should have been at the Chamber. Jey Uso getting a title shot for Gunther would not have been as important as CM Punk going up against Cody, especially after that Raw segment where he basically hoped that Cody hoped that Punk would win to face him. You know what I'm saying? Like, the hype was there, and they blew it. They blew it. Okay? And, you know, I know the Chamber's coming up, and Punk, Cena, are most likely going to be in the Chamber. But it diminishes Punk's main event. All right, that whole story that they built up a year ago. Okay, that whole story they built up a year ago, okay, is all dead now. Yeah, he can freaking win the Chamber, but it's not the same. Winning the Chamber and winning the Rumble are not the same. Rumble guarantees your ticket to WrestleMania. And the hype and the buildup is stronger with the Rumble than it is than just winning it at the damn Chamber. Okay? So for me, I am not happy about this at all. And again, it goes back to this whole thing again, the Roman Reigns dynasty, okay? It goes back to that whole bloodline dynasty is like, are we going to keep doing this? Where it's like only the people from the Rock's family is going to get pushed. Is it only going to be people with Ric Flair's name that's going to get pushed? You know what I'm saying? Like, when are we going to start pushing people that don't have family ties to people? You know what I'm saying? Like, LA Knight clearly was the better choice than Jey Uso. And yet, they went with Jey Uso instead. Not saying Jey Uso isn't over, because obviously I know Jey Uso is over. I'm not saying that he isn't. But to say that he's more over than LA Knight, I think is kind of ridiculous. Because LA Knight merchandise sales were just as big as his. And obviously he was doing it over a longer period of time since he had been doing the Yeah movement way before Jey Uso, or the Yeah Revolution, rather longer than the Yeet movement, lot longer. So I think LA Knight should have won, and I don't think Charlotte Flair should have won. I would have given it to anyone else besides, well, not Nia Jax. I wouldn't want Nia Jax to win either, but I would have given to anybody else. I mean, the women's Royal Battle is actually where I think they should have given it to a newer person. Instead of going with, a newer person in the men's Royal Battle, Royal Rumble, and especially since it was such a stacked card, of, some of the, the older, veterans that were in it. There was no legends, returning legends that came in for this Rumble. They had one celebrity, Ice Speed, which I didn't like it. But I know there were a couple people that like Ice Speed that I was sending it to, that weren't watching the Rumble. I didn't like it because it once again takes away a spot from someone else that has been busting their ass off. And while Tozawa is not really that, of an important, established mid-card guy, I mean, he's kind of like a jobber wrestler. I would have still rather had him in there over Ice Speed, because he is working his ass off. All these wrestlers are working their ass off, but, the whole Ice Speed thing, it made him look really weak. Oh, yeah, one clothesline to the back takes out, Tozawa, and so now we have to have, ice speed get in there. He actually got an elimination with Braun Breaker before Braun Breaker literally broke him in half, and eliminated him. I just got really no opinion on that. I know WWE has always done celebrity stuff here and there, but that just really, if you're like someone that wants to see some of these wrestlers succeed, it takes away a spot from them so they can get the celebrity in there, which I just was not a fan of. But anyways, but yeah, the whole thing with CM Punk, I just don't think the Chamber, if that's the route they're going in, where Punk is supposed to win the Chamber, which I don't even know if that's the case, because it seems like now they might be gearing towards a triple threat with Roman and Seth, possibly. I know Punk does still have a favor from Paul, but yeah, I don't know what they're planning with him and Cody. Cody literally took out. Well, Cody's supposedly injured too. Now I'm suspicious of this. I think this is more of a kayfabe injury, work, but I'm not exactly sure until they come out maybe on Raw or something like that, and if he comes out with how Punk came out, then there's a possibility that something may have happened, but we won't know yet until things happen, until we know for sure. But yeah, KO is out, but I think he's more in a kayfabe injury. Because that's why Cody didn't do a press. That's why Cody wasn't at the press conference, because he was I guess he was supposed to be at the press conference. From what they said, he was originally advertised to be at the press conference for winning that match, but then they didn't do it because he supposedly injured himself. I'm wondering still if it's a work, because things are subject to change. And I don't know. It just seems awfully too coincidental. But we'll find out more later on if it in fact was a real injury. But yeah, I'm not happy. I know a lot of people are on me. Oh, you made a bold prediction that Punk was gonna win, and he didn't win. Well, yeah, that happens. I really believed he was gonna win after that Raw segment. I really believe that was, the clincher. He's never won it in his career. He's not going to probably be at the Royal Rumble next year because it's in Saudi Arabia, So we're going to go 2 years without Punk being able to be in the Rumble. By that point, he'll be 49 years old, I think. So he's probably never going to win the Rumble. This was probably Punk's last chance of winning the Rumble, and that's the reason why I really want him to win. Because he's probably not going to be in the Rumble next year because it's in Saudi Arabia. And for anybody who doesn't know why he won't be there, is because he did say some disparaging things to The Miz a couple of years ago about Saudi Arabia on Twitter. And also, Punk is an atheist, so there's things that I don't want to get into, but you can just look up Saudi Arabia's laws and figure that one out. So Punk is probably never going to be a Rumble winner now, because again, he he said what he said about Saudi Arabia, and it would be 2027 before he'd be able to be in a Rumble again. And that would be 49. So unless Punk is still doing his thing still and being there, we're probably never going to get to see Punk as the Rumble winner, which really fucking sucks. But Yeah, guys, that's my take on this. I'm not happy with the Rumble at all. Um, and you know, Jey Uso, if he was going to challenge Gunther, I think it would have been better for him to win the Chamber instead, because it would have made more sense. Um, because everyone knows the WWE Champion is the main title. That's the title you really should be going for. So the fact that he's picking the world title, to me, that just would have made more sense to win a number one contender match for the Chamber. That's it. That's all I got to say. Comment, rate, flex reviews, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell for latest contents. Thank you. And that's about it. I am the S Ultimate Goku. I'm out of here. Peace.